So it's been another really good week for the price of ADA, up roughly 8% as I record this. And then on top of that, the Cardano ecosystem has been exploding in some cases, with a lot of projects seeing big gains against the price of ADA. So back that up on top of ADA being up against the US dollar, there's a lot of happy people within the ecosystem right now. So in this video, which we do every Monday, we'll dive into the Cardano ecosystem to see what's going on with different projects, why certain ones are moving, and what's the general feel among the community right now. We'll start off with an overall look at crypto. We'll move on very quickly into the Cardano ecosystem and maybe come back with a separate video looking at crypto overall. If you get value, please do give the video a like, comment, questions, or even projects you'd like me to do a deep dive into. If you're new, do subscribe, share it out. I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Just before we get into the overall market, just to mention that Fetch, the Cardano DEX aggregator that I am a part of, has had an update in the last few days. Fairly big update behind the scenes. You won't see that many new features in this one. A lot of it was looking at the stability of the platform, picking up all the new tokens that are getting minted on chain so you can trade them straight away. There was an algorithm tweak, which means that you're now going to get better value for the splits across multiple DEXs that come out. We found a few improvements, and there's a few other things we're looking at that we think will make it even better. Some things to note: there's now a Twitter feed. So if you're looking here, click on the X feed, it'll pull in the Twitter feed for the different projects you're looking at. You can search for the project on Twitter, that'll go straight, or X. I suppose we need to change that terminology at some point. And another one is we tidied up the sidebar. So when you come in here now, you have your favorite tokens. Any tokens you put as a favorite, you can see them. The portfolio, so you see the tokens that are in your portfolio, a quick look at what ones you have. You can click any of these, go and trade them straight away. You can go in and view the full portfolio, which gives you a lot more detail on your portfolio. Then you have your swaps history here. So you have the latest, I think it's the latest 15 swaps that you can see. This is a test wallet that I use for testing the platform. You can see a lot of cancels were tested here just before going live, just to make sure everything was working okay on the platform. But I can dive deeper into that kind of stuff in a separate dedicated video. Just to note, the rebates are still ongoing. So any aggregator fees, they are small fees, but any of them that you do incur on the platform, they do get rebated back to you in a separate transaction in the form of HOSKY. And in the last few days, HOSKY has been doing fairly well. Okay, kicking it off with a quick look at the overall market. So in the last 7 days, Bitcoin down 2%. But if we look at overall, it's been a phenomenal few weeks for the price of Bitcoin, sitting at $96,000 right now. XRP has been the major winner among the top coins this week, up just under 69% right now, up 4% in the last hour, 28% in the last 24 hours. People thought it might cool off today, but the news of an XRP ETF, or a filing for an XRP ETF, has really kind of lit the fires even more to push the price on, considering it was crossed $1 for the first time, and I think it was 3 or 4 years, only 2 weeks ago. It's been a crazy ride for people in the XRP ecosystem and holders of XRP. Maybe it's definitely a video I should try and dive a bit deeper into and see what else is going on with XRP. We look then down here. Solana hasn't been doing all that well lately, down 9% for this week. BNB down 3%. Come all the way down here to Cardano ADA, up 8% for the week. So even though some of the other top coins here are slowing down, ADA really is doing very well right now. AVAX Avalanche pushing into the top 10 with up 10% for the week. That's another good ecosystem, one that it's on the list to dive into at some point. Just doesn't seem to be enough hours, but we'll look into that at some point. So just coming back over here to look at ADA. One thing actually to note, and we can do this in another video when I look more at the overall ecosystem or the overall crypto, what is happening right now. You look at Bitcoin dominance continuing to fall. Now it looks like it's falling a lot here when you look at it zoomed in, but when you start to zoom out, there's still a long way to go. And Bitcoin dominance is the market cap of Bitcoin compared to the rest of crypto. And if you look back, if you do this based on cycles, and again, this is something we can look into more, you look at previous cycles. So the yellow here is the Bitcoin halving. So Bitcoin halving here, price did fall off fairly steeply after that Bitcoin halving, went up and then completely crashed all the way down to in around 40%. After this halving, bit of chop up and down, had its big run. So I'm kind of looking at maybe that's it here. Are we going to see the big fall off to 40%? If we did, that will be massive for the altcoin space. And just if you look back at the other cycle, after it there was a drop, pulled itself back up, bit of chop, and then again it had the major fall. So every cycle so far, we've had a lot of funds flowing into the rest of the market. I know things are slightly different this time. There's a lot more interest in Bitcoin. Maybe it won't have just as dramatic of a fall, but there's still a long way to go for the altcoin market. And if you're looking at ADA, this is definitely the one that I always talk about looking at, is the ADA BTC chart. So if you look at the ADA USD, this looks brilliant. It's great to see this here. It's great to see the push up. We look at maybe around the here 125, you would expect resistance. If it can break that and hold it, things are looking very good for the price of ADA. But if you look at ADA BTC, which is the one that I always say to keep an eye on, is last week we talked about, can it hold this 1000 sats resistor, or this 1000 sats support? And yes, it did. It dipped or wicked below it here on Tuesday, but then shot all the way up, and it looks like it has found its support here. So next up, you have to look at the, I would say here is fine, the 1200 sats, but I'll be looking even a little bit higher to make it bigger. Looking at the 1500 to 1600 sat area is where I would definitely see some decent resistance for the price of ADA against Bitcoin. But we look at that when we look at the overall market, and let's get back to the Cardano ecosystem on this one. So TVL again up this week. If we scroll all the way over here in terms of US dollar, you can see we are up at, it did hit 660 million. You can see it there in the chart. At one point, fell down slightly. Again, this is correlated back to the price of ADA and USD. It went up to about 115. So that could be the reason for the slight drop there. Now you will see some people sharing screenshots of this number being a lot higher, and that's if you include staking up on top here. You can see it jumps up to nearly 800 million. For me personally, I don't include staking when I'm looking at this. I just want to see what's locked up in DeFi protocols on Cardano. So on then to the top 10. And if you look here, number one is SNEK, setting new highs every week right now in US dollar and in the price of ADA. Against ADA, it is up 38% for the last 7 days. And if we look at the last 30 days over here on the right, up just under 110% for the last month, which is phenomenal growth considering what the price of ADA is up as well. We'll look at the US dollar in a minute. But as usual, I'm looking at these in terms of ADA rather than USD. I'll show you how, if you want to change that, you can do it up here in the drop down, change to whatever currency you want. Next up, you have WMTx, which is just about even for the week, sitting up 0.5%. Definitely interested to see what's going to happen there with the Earth nodes, or the Earth node NFT, which is basically your license to run a validator or a node within the World Mobile Network. When it goes live, there was some fairly big activity in the last 24 hours. You look here, there was one node sold for 77,000 ADA, and then one person came in and bought 3 of these. So whether they know something or whether there is just pure speculation, there's definitely a lot more interest starting to come in there. Anyone not familiar with an Earth node and what it is, basically when we minted them originally, I minted mine probably 2 years ago now or something like that. Must look back on the dates, but you had to lock up 100,000 World Mobile token to get the NFT, and then there was only 1,000 of them minted, and then they went out on secondary markets like JPEG Store if anyone wants to get them. But so for me, I'm waiting for the network to go live. The testnet is live. It's not the incentivized one just yet, but I think that one is going to come fairly soon. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I thought that was an interesting thing to keep an eye on with WMTx. So the price hasn't increased much here, but with all that activity on the Earth node NFTs, it's definitely one to keep an eye on. AGIX, I don't really consider it a Cardano project. I don't think they do anything on Cardano at the minute. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment section if I am. Liquid has been a big beneficiary this week, up 15% against ADA. And the price of Liquid up to 6.9 ADA right now. That was down in 1 point something there a few months ago. So Liquid really coming out strong. And I think the narrative around Bitcoin and liquidity coming from Bitcoin into Cardano it's doing really well on the back of that, because when I suppose liquidity comes in, they want to get access to DeFi. So things like LQ and then LendFi, which is another lending and borrowing protocol, they're the ones that could benefit a lot from that. MinSwap or IAG then in number 5, up 10%. All the speculation around IAG and lots more interest starting to come. I think once they start to announce the Fortune 500 and the different partners that they're doing the proof of concepts with and the trials, I think things are going to get very interesting for IAG. I'll catch up with NavG fairly soon to see can we get any more of them details out of it, but it's great to see the project doing so well. If you look then, MinSwap, number 1 DEX right now on Cardano, up 5.5%. HOSKY, which we talked about, up 170% for the week, which is crazy. Indigo up 13% and Kopi up 11%. Kopi, another one that's starting to get a little bit of interest outside of the ecosystem, so more people taking notice. As people take notice of the Cardano ecosystem or the price of ADA doing well, they start to look at the ecosystem. So you start to look here, top meme coin right now is SNEK, so that's one people get interested in. One of the top protocols, I would say, IAG, people get interested in. Lending and borrowing, DEXs, and that's where people, gaming is another narrative that's getting really big in this cycle. So people start to look at what are the gaming, what are the DeFi protocols, so they can start to get into it. Now, if you do order this by the last 7 days, Chad, another meme coin, up 2.2 million. I think that one came from SNEK.fun. Then you have Friend, which is another meme coin, up 76%. Baby SNEK, another meme coin. SNEK, meme coin. Splash, which is the DEX. We're going to talk about Splash, or we already talked a bit about Splash. We'll talk about it again in a minute. Milk is another DEX token. I thought it was a forgotten about DEX. Maybe they're going to do something, I'm not sure. Jen's another DEX. Night Pig, another meme coin. If we look just at where the trading has been happening for this week then, so if we come into the markets, let's look at the last 7 days. And if you look at MinSwap dominance, down slightly this week, down under 50% for the first time in a while. And you can see Splash is in at number 2. And if I scroll down the bottom just to check the numbers on this, so if you look at MinSwap, in terms of volume, MinSwap is still way out in front. But in terms of actual trades, you can see that Splash has passed him out. SNEK Fun actually with 62,000 trades, Splash with 54, and then MinSwap with 49. So again, a lot of people that are trading on SNEK Fun or trading meme coins on Splash, because Splash has the liquidity pools for SNEK.fun, then a lot of them are smaller volume. So there's more trades but smaller volume compared to some of the bigger projects being traded on MinSwap. And you look at the number of users, MinSwap right now is winning by a decent margin in terms of users. So that's where the activity has been this week. Questions, comments, improvements you'd like to see in this video that goes out every Monday, let me know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Share it out, let people know what's going on in the Cardano ecosystem, and hopefully we're back next Monday with another really good week for all of us. Talk to you soon.